coach wanted me to go and get after the quarterback. I drop in cover two. I take man sometimes. It was very simple defense. I think when I got to A&M, we were in a very complex defense. I was playing both positions. And, there's a lot of different responsibilities for those. And, I think Coach Elko and that staff just really helped me learn more about football and, just showcase my versatility.
Nick, I like to take bits and pieces from everybody, a lot of greats, my spin move from Dwight Freeney, a lot of guys use the cross chop nowadays, Brian Burns, Rashawn Gary, Aiden Hudson. I just love watching those guys get active.
And you mentioned that inside spin move is one of the more lethal moves. Would you say that's your favorite move in your pass rush arsenal?
It's not really a move for me. Essentially, it's kind of like a counter. I love to set it up throughout the game, with different outside rushes and things like that.
Of course, that's Nic Scourton, 2025 NFL Draft Prospect Profile. Already at the Combine for him, speaking to the media and sounding really good, in my opinion. A good opportunity for the Bears to get a good look at him. Perfect fit for the Bears? I don't know if that's too much to say, but he would fit in very well with the 4-3 scheme where he can put his knuckles in the dirt. He was talking right there about the differences of when he transferred from Purdue to Texas A&M. And you can see the production difference there at the bottom. He went from 42 pressures over 263 pass rush opportunities to 36 pressures in 315 pass rush opportunities. So not detrimental, but also not at the same elite level he was at when he was with Purdue. A big reason for that when you look into the actual reasoning behind his stat production and why it went down a little bit on his pass rush, his tackling grade came up, but he dropped into coverage quite a bit. They had a unique scheme there at Texas A&M, and he would drop into coverage quite a bit. Now, he said right there, as you heard, the versatility helped him out. He feels like he's more NFL equipped and NFL ready, but for a Bears system, he's probably just going to put those knuckles in the dirt and try to get after the quarterback and try to use, like his sophomore season, 42 pressures in 263 pass rush opportunities would be nice to see. So, good size. 285 pounds, and he doesn't move like a 285-pounder. He moves very fluid, and he's very quick and agile. So it's going to be fun to watch him test out at the Combine. You can see most places have him. Before this season started, he was around a top 10 prospect, maybe even, above top 10 for most places. I put him right here, mid-20s to end of first round is where I think he'll go. Some places like PFN, ESPN, NFL.com, Draft Buzz, they've got him a little bit higher than that. NBC Sports. They've got him a little bit higher than that. He could range anywhere there. Lucky thing for the Bears would be is if he drops a little bit. In this elite class where you've heard them talk about how picks between 10 and 40 are about the same value and anybody could go anywhere, a good thing for the Bears would be is, if they took, even if they did a trade down scenario and they took someone else and then he fell around 39 or 40 or 41, boy, that'd be a great scenario for the Bears to be able to snag up a player that would fit Dennis Allen's defense perfectly. So I've shown this graph a couple times because we've been going over the edges quite a bit. Don't worry about the upward trajectory because this is really just a left-to-right graph. This true pass set part doesn't really matter how often it's a true pass set. It's really the overall pass rush win rate. He's about 17.1. So among right there with some of the top guys in this class, you got James Pierce, Abdul Carter, Mike Green, Princely Umaamiel, and he's right behind him, right around Jack Sawyer. And really, a lot of these are just the first-round prospects, and he is considered a first-round prospect because he's projected to go somewhere in the early 20s range, late teens, early mid-20s, somewhere in there. But his pass rush win rate, 17.1%, which is really solid. His PRP grade, PFS pressure grade, 6.8, pressure every 8.75 plays. Normally, that'd be really good. In this draft class, that's probably mediocre. Pressure that infrequently, but you have to take into consideration how much he did drop back into coverage and how many times he wasn't just pinning his ears back and going after the quarterback. So those things need to be taken into consideration when you consider him. And he's got some really neat moves. I'll read a scouting report here in a second, but you'll watch it on the tape. His spin move that's brought up constantly, he sets people up with it, and he pulls it off really well. He's really agile for 285 pounds. He looks really smooth. So from his scouting report, they say, devastating spin move that combines exceptional quickness and precise hand placement to consistently beat tackles clean. Showcased this repeatedly against South Carolina and Nebraska. Carries 285 pounds with remarkable athleticism. Advanced pass rush arsenal featuring effective club swim, cross chop, and two-hand swipe moves that keep offensive tackles guessing what he's going to do. Exceptional first-step quickness allows him to shoot B gaps and punish over-setting tackles, repeatedly expose protection schemes against Missouri. And I'm just going to add in there, for a defensive end, he can take on a double team extremely well and fight through those, open up gaps and lanes for other guys. He's a good role player where he'll fill his role, and if someone's gonna double team him, it's gonna give opportunities to other guys. So he does things uniquely that other defensive ends might not be able to step up and take. Austin Booker's not gonna take on double teams and win those very often. I'm not picking on Austin Booker, but it's just a very different skill set at his 285 pounds and very agile and nimble. He brings the thunder as a power rusher when he converts speed to force, showing the ability to put tackles on skates when he times his strike just right. Special teams experience across all 4 units adds immediate value while he develops, has shown a knack for blocking kicks. Natural play strength at the point of attack makes him a nightmare for tight ends trying to seal the edge in the run game. Motor never stops running, consistently chasing plays from behind and fights through multiple blocks to get involved. So his weaknesses, because he is so big, 6'4", 285 pounds, a little bit of hip tightness, struggles to maintain leverage against double teams, but he takes on the double teams very well as well. Pass rush can stall out when the initial move is stopped, needs to develop better counter moves, learn to chain rushes together. I think that's a NFL level thing that scouts and coaches can help him with at the next level, is to be able to chain those things together and be able to have a good game plan as he goes into it on different downs and different sets of what's needed. His tackling technique needs a little refinement. His pad level rises as he gets fatigued. But all these things are very normal for a first-round prospect. Nothing in there is frightening or overwhelming for him. All of that sounds you hear the weaknesses and you worry a little bit, but none of it is really overwhelming. It's all stuff that's very coachable and definitely a top prospect in this draft ability. So his scouting summary: Scourton's blend of size, explosiveness, and technical refinement projects him as an immediate contributor in a 4-3 defensive front, whereas natural power and advanced rush setup can be maximized from a three-point stance. His proven production against top competition in both the Big Ten and SEC demonstrates the ability to win with both finesse and power at the next level. The vast majority of his impact early on will come as a designated pass rusher where he can spin, where his spin move and ability to convert speed to power give him a legitimate third down value from day one. As he develops his counter moves and builds up his stamina, his role should expand into an every down edge setter who can consistently pressure quarterbacks while holding the point against the run. Looking at his athletic testing, production profile, and film studies, Scourton projects as a top 40 selection who could sneak into the first round based on his youth. He was only 20 years old, and technical refinement. His immediate ceiling may be capped by his current limitations against double teams and need for counter move development, but his foundation suggests Pro Bowl potential by year 3. So, a lot of upside here. I don't see us taking him at 10. If we did a trade back scenario, I can see it happening if we really fall in love with him. My ideal scenario here is if he's not taken by 39, because as they've talked about, so many defensive studs. I mean, there's probably of the first 40 picks, 30 of them will probably be defensive, and the majority of those will be on the defensive line. So, ideal scenario here, he falls to 39. The Bears get lucky, are able to snag him after taking a nose tackle or a defensive tackle in the first round. And that would be a pretty sweet scenario, but I'm not going to bank on that. But really good prospect in Nic Scourton. Good size. Fits a 4-3 really, really well. And already some really great moves and diagnosing plays. I don't know if they mentioned that enough, but on that last play, let me just take that one back. You can see here. He can diagnose and read plays really well. It's probably the next one right here. You see him chase down the quarterback. They're trying to, do some play action, do some faking here, and he doesn't fall for it. He doesn't bite at all. He's really good at diagnosing plays and following the ball and going the correct place where he needs to go. So I'm really impressed with Nic Scourton. I'm not in love with him where we have to take him at 10, but I wouldn't be upset if we took him at 10. I wouldn't be upset if we took him with a trade down. I wouldn't be upset if he fell to, I'd be really elated if we fell to 39. But I like him as a prospect. I think he's a good prospect. He'd be fun to see in the Bears. More to come, though. More to come. We're just getting started. NFL draft prospect profile, Nic Scourton, defensive end out of Texas A&M. Would not mind seeing him as a Bear. With that, appreciate you guys tuning in. Till next time, da Bears and bear down.